Hola y bienvenidos al podcast Un gato en tierra de perros, vuestra referencia para la política estadounidense, la cultura y mucho más. Hello, I'm Joe Magaha. Thank you, friends, for being with me for another episode of Un Gato en Tierra de Perros. Today, I have with me a few vets, well, a couple of vets, and hopefully another one popping on as well. We've got Tommy Karate. Welcome, Tommy. And we've got Mike Arthur. Welcome, Mike.
Thank you.
And yeah, we were kind of talking off camera about the third person who's coming on is a comedian, Larry Beyah, and hopefully he'll be able to pop on. He's walking to church, so hopefully he can talk to us on his walk. So how are you guys doing today?
I'm doing great, Joe. Thanks. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great. You know, every week it's a little different, and and it looks like Larry's coming on. It says Lorenzo's iPhone. So
outstanding.
Yeah. So we can get some laughs in here as well, as well as some dark shit or whatever pops into the conversation.
We're good for all of it.
Exactly. And yeah, it's going to take probably a second for Larry to get up. Mike, you have a podcast as well, Veteran Nation, is that right?
Yeah, Veteran Nation. I've been doing it for almost 5 years now.
Yep.
It's me and another veteran, and we just talk about anything.
That's great. Well, I see Larry. Larry, what's happening?
What up? Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Welcome.
Okay, so listen, here's the deal. I technically forgot about the show today, so I'm on the way to church. So I decided to take the train. I was going to drive and see how regular people live. And I learned a lot on the train today. Did you know that Canada is going to be the 51st state? It's a great thing. I'm a stand-up comedian. The shit writes itself. Do we really want poutine to be on our national menu? Do we want Canadian Mounties in Brooklyn? What's going on? What's going on with the world?
Well, maybe we'll get some cheap back bacon and some cheap maple syrup. I don't know.
Do their police even have guns? They were like, we suggest you sit down and stop doing that activity.
Hopefully they'll say, I'm sorry a lot as they're arresting you or whatever.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm arresting you.
Sorry.
Yo, do we say, oh, Canada or...
oh, Canada.
Oh, Canada. So how y'all done this morning?
Timmy
I had
Horton
3 shows last night.
Oh, damn. You just
Tired.
going. So how's your health doing? We did mention that briefly, and I know that it's a struggle, but it's hopefully you're going good. Are things moving in the right direction?
God is good. See, the thing is, God is good. When they told me I had cancer, I said, well, I'm not going to stress it. God got me. He said, by that stripes, I am healed. So I just focused on that. I just focused on being in his glory. My friends love me. My family love me. My girlfriend loves me. She prays for me morning, noon, and night. I'm meeting her in church right now. So I was gonna skip church and do this, because I was gonna go back upstairs and set up the whole studio and everything. I said no, because if I miss church today, and she said, if you miss church today, she said, be there or else.
You got to do what the lady says, man. I know how it is. Yeah.
Oh my God, I thought you were speaking into a fan.
I have a buddy who calls this the Death Star because it looks like the Death Star from Star Wars.
Tommy, how you doing, Tommy?
Doing good, brother, man. I'm just glad to see you, man.
Oh
Doing
man,
well.
it's,
Everything's going along swimmingly, man. We got the house. We're working on closing and shit. So I'm gonna get out of LA, man.
all praises to the guy. Where you moving?
When or where?
Nowhere.
Willows, California. It's in the north part of the central Sacramento Valley. It's
Okay.
the halfway point between Los Angeles and Portland. So
Okay.
it's very agricultural area, maybe about a little over 6,000 people population. So I
Yeah.
might get culture shock, but you know, I'm looking forward to slowing down with me and the missus, man. It's going to be wonderful.
Well,
He's
we
gonna
have
be doing way more of his medicine.
yeah, we have eight chickens now, and so they lay eggs constantly. Let me tell you something. They lay so many eggs. So I eat like 6 eggs a day, right?
Yeah.
And people always come by the chicken coop and they're always looking at like because behind it, I'm in Cos Cob, so behind it is a park. So all the kids have they slide down the park in the wintertime. It's a big hill. So the parents come up. So everybody's taking pictures by the chicken coop with the chickens.
Nice.
And he was like, "Do you want to sell any of those eggs for Easter so we can color them?" Yeah, that's why I grow eggs. So
Yeah,
you
bro.
can, so you can just boil them and hide them. No, what the heck are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm in East LA, so we have 5 chickens now. We have one of them running around, and the eggs are fantastic, man. So, it's kind of
Yeah.
what happens when you marry into a Hispanic, Mexican American family, man. You get chickens. It's awesome. So,
Yeah, they say when you marry a woman, you marry her family, but I guess with the Mexican American family, you also marry the chickens.
marry the chickens.
Yeah, and the thing is that like they have like a lot of cockfighting, chicken fighting,
Yeah.
and so I came up with this thing. I said, you know what? If you want a chicken fight or pit bull fight, I believe you should have to go in the ring first.
Absolutely. I'm with you there. That's how we rescued these. We had neighbors that moved out and left these behind. There's some weird Asian breed that are like fighting chickens, and yeah, we had to wrangle them in and build a coop and stuff. So that's how we
General
got these.
General
They're breeding
Tso's chicken.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
They're freaking wild.
Yeah, the Fabulous Thunderbirds used to play at a place where they would have cockfights, and the loser would end up in the gumbo. So
That's an incentive alone to win.
yeah, exactly. Well,
Oh,
yeah,
man, I
it's,
can't wait
it's
to.
crazy. I mean, chickens are brutal when they fight each other too, even without the razor blades on them. They put razor blades on them when they're fighting.
Yeah, around their talons. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
it's so funny. I can't wait to be back out in LA. I got 2 shows at the Improv coming up.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, so I'm starting to travel more now, and it just I'm starting to do. I become appreciative of a lot of stuff now. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing what regular people do now. Like I'm taking the train. Like I don't know. It's like when you're an entertainer, like you spend much of your time away from the public until you entertain them. But like now, like go, but you got to get more material. So it's like I got to be back amongst the people, and
Yes, you
listen,
are.
listen to the stuff they say.
Give us a date.
It is crazy.
And I'll come out and support you, and I'll also push it out so that we can pack the house for you.
Yeah, I was at Gotham. I did the Stand and I did Gotham last night. And let me tell you, oh my God, it's good to be back on stage. It really is. It's like you find, like it's like going to the gym or anything. Like, you got to knock off the rust a little bit.
You got that muscle memory though, man. I saw parts of it and it
Yeah.
was freaking hilarious.
Yeah. So I talk about the cancer journey. It's funny. Oh my God, it's so funny. I said, I said, the side effects from the medicine is like I get hot flashes. Like you get double hot flashes from the medicine. I said, Doc, I came in here with cancer. I'm leaving with menopause. Who knew the cure for cancer was menopause?
Yeah. Well, it seems like the cure for everything these days is just to take your balls, but
Oh my God. That's just the Democrat plan. The Democrat plan.
Yeah.
The Democrat plan is just, hey, take the man's balls.
Yeah. What would your name be if you were a woman?
Oh my God, it's so funny because I said like they do this thing where they take the testosterone out of my body with these stomach shots, and I said so my testosterone is going down. I said so next year I'll be playing women's tennis. I said,
Yeah.
I said, don't get mad because y'all didn't get mad when that man was swimming with the women.
Win yourself a
So
gold
don't
medal.
get mad at me.
Well, they
Oh,
used
the
to have
what?
the old joke that if guys grew breasts, they'd never leave the house, you know, because they'd just be
Yeah.
playing with them all day.
And I'm going to the gym after church too. So I try to get it all in on Sunday. I try to go to church in the morning, go to gym in the afternoon, then I do the show at Gotham at night.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So
Are you doing another set tonight?
yeah, I'm doing that. Today is the only day I get to see my girlfriend because she drives in from Scranton. So we meet in church every Sunday. So
Outstanding. Okay.
yeah. So I'm in Connecticut and she's in Scranton, PA. I was like, okay, why don't you just move to Connecticut?
She
It's
comes
God's country. It's
with
God's
the
country. Yeah. Oh my God. Then I have to share. She have to share the chores because we have to chop the wood, the chickens, and then we grow our peppers. So the peppers, we just planted the peppers and everything. So
Oh, awesome.
Nice.
it's
Yeah,
a
the
lot
weather's
it's a lot
getting
of
good.
work.
Very.
I love winter. I love winter, man. We had such a great winter.
Oof. It's brutal up there too. I lived in New Hampshire
Yeah.
for 2 years. And I could not deal with that snow, man. Mm-mm.
Yeah. We have a house up in New Hampshire too, and we was up in New Hampshire. Oh my God, it's just so much more land up there.
Yeah. It's bad. It's beautiful, beautiful part of the country.
What's the weather out there where you at?
Here in California?
It's better finally. Yeah.
Yeah, it started clearing up. It's going to be in the mid to upper 70s.
Yeah.
Here we're going to be touching on low 80s in LA.
We had 170 day, and we had that 170. It was a 70 day for about 3 hours, and then the cold front just came right behind it. So we're getting out of it. It's cool. I'm entering Harlem now. You're
Nice.
gonna see a lot more browner people on the train. the color hue is gonna start to meld.
I was in Harlem in '84. I was a break dancer, and I went and I was hanging with some boys, and we went and saw Chud, Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dweller. And it was just like a fucking, I mean, being there was like a movie because everybody's passing a joint around and people are talking at the movie. It was fucking hilarious.
Yo, speaking of that, when Tommy came and saw me in Hollywood, I was playing the improv. I was at Hollywood Improv, and Tommy came, and I still have his lighter.
I got it back.
That used to be my sickness. I would bum a light when I used to smoke. I'd bum a smoke or I bum a lighter, and I would always just automatically by habit put it in my pocket. And walk away. You know, you forget, and then you come home and you got like 5 lighters. You know.
Look,
Probably smoking weed with friends, man. It happens.
It's so funny because I was like,
Oh, you must be going through. You're breaking up, Larry. I think that maybe they don't have good Wi-Fi or good good connections in Harlem.
Yo, once you get to Harlem, the Wi-Fi messes up. Yo, it's messed up. You see how they do us? You see how they do us? You see how they do us?
Yeah, it's the man keeping you down, man.
The connection was great the whole time until I got to Harlem. You see how they do us? You see?
No wonder why people don't know how to internet.
Yo, where the fiber?
Go by a synagogue.
You're gonna tell me fiber? There's no fiber optics in Harlem. Look at Harlem. Look at Harlem. Look at Harlem. Look at the graffiti.
Nice. We have nice graffiti out here too. I take the train to downtown LA every day, and man, we got some trippy stuff that people are drawing on the sides.
I love LA. I love the West Coast. My only problem with the West Coast is that it's not on the East Coast. That's my only problem with the West Coast. With the West Coast, I love the West Coast, man, but it should be over here.
I thought you were gonna say that your only problem with the West Coast is there's too many Californians here. You know.
Oh man, I love the California. California does me well. They love me.
Absolutely.
I have so many fans in California that I'm like, I can never turn my back on the West Coast.
Yeah.
I feel like Snoop Dogg. Y'all don't like the West Coast. Y'all don't like the West Coast.
You got no love for the West Coast?
Y'all got no love for the West Coast.
We get a bad rap because of our politicians, man. It's wonderful.
Y'all politicians out there is terrible.
They're crooks.
Let me tell you, I was in San Francisco. So, you know, the mayor of San Francisco is London Breed. I call her London Greed.
Ugh.
Okay, wait, hold on. Look at Harlem.
Nice.
Isn't that no palm trees? No palm. Matter of fact, no trees. Matter of fact, no trees. Where's the oxygen?
Yeah.
Oh my.
Wasn't that a play back in the day? A tree grows in Brooklyn.
Place.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know you're in a bad buildings are taller than the trees. When the buildings are taller than the trees, I don't like to live. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But they said a tree grows in Brooklyn. A tree grows in Brooklyn.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's a rare thing, you know. Not too many trees grow in Brooklyn.
So I go to Times Square Church, and I'm usually at the 9 o'clock service. But I got up this morning and I started exercising. And you know how when you start exercising this and exercising that, you start losing track of time. Because I was going through it yesterday. I really was going through it. And so I do all of these traditional Chinese medicine, like Tai Chi and stuff like that. So there's this one meridian I was trying to open. Don't think I know what I'm talking about. I'm just saying there was one meridian I was trying to open. Because the lady said, you need to open this meridian. I said, okay, I'm trying to open it. And every time I touched it, there was so much pain there. And I was like, okay. So by the time I finished that this morning, I feel better now, you know? So I opened up my meridian.
Nice.
Okay. So it's like
the Chinese do know something that some of us don't. I mean, there's some ancient medicine that actually works. It kind of blows my mind, you know, the different teas and stuff they use. And the acupressure and the stuff they do on your feet that can affect something else in your body. I don't know how they do it, but they figured it out 1,000 years ago.
They said that there are points in your hand and your feet, and that's really true because like Western medicine is cool. Don't get it twisted. When you need an oncologist, you need an oncologist. However, they said, well, we want to do chemotherapy, and I said, well, we're not going to do chemotherapy. We're not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. So I'm doing immunotherapy. And so, but I'm doing it in conjunction with Chinese medicine. So I'm not going to do because I said, why would I kill perfectly good cells in my body just to go after bad cells? It doesn't make sense. I have 2 master's degrees. It doesn't make sense. I have 3 Emmys. It doesn't make sense. It does not commute. Like, why would I go after? So I said, no. So Chinese medicine, I think that if we're talking about, because you know, everybody's talking about a one world government, a one world order. I think we should have a one world medicine, and I think it should be Chinese medicine. Because Western medicine is just a pharmaceutical company. It's just trying to sell you stuff to get you hooked on something. You know, they sell you into something so that they can get you hooked, so they can continue.
VA was really good at that one.
Yeah. Did you see the movie Dope Sick?
Yes.
It's a miniseries.
Yeah.
Michael Keaton, he stars in it. It just shows you how the FDA and the pharmaceutical companies are in bed together. It just clearly shows you. Up here in Connecticut.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, no.
The opioid thing, even before COVID, the opioid scourge that hit our country was because of that, you know. And I mean,
that was Purdue up here in Connecticut, Purdue Pharmacy. That's up here in Connecticut. It was like, come on. You can look at their building and tell they're crooks. You can look at the buildings. Crooks work inside of there.
I could have saved the VA so much money if they didn't get me hooked on opioids and then have to pay for my rehab and detox and shit twice.
Does the building look like the Legion of Doom?
Yeah. Are you still going through the VA?
Yeah. Say again?
Are you still going through the VA?
That's the only healthcare I have, man.
Okay, so here's the deal. So I went through the VA at first, and then she kept talking to me some type of way. Because she said, you're stupid if you don't do chemotherapy. I said, let me tell you something. I said, I'm no longer in the military, and if you talk to me like that again, I will fuck you up.
Exactly.
I'm like, I don't know who you think you're talking to.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it
Did,
was a
did
beautiful
she say, when I say
journey.
jump, you say how high, or that kind of thing?
Like, mama, mama, look at me. Mama, llama, look at me. Look how I fucked this bitch up today.
I don't play that shit. I have some, they put me on the honorary fucking patients list. I know that goddamn I'm used to like a combative patient. You know.
Yeah. They just
So,
killed my uncle. My uncle was in Vietnam, and he was in the VA hospital in Brooklyn since Christmas. And so he called me up in Connecticut, and he was like, "Yo, Larry, I need you to come bring me a salted bagel with butter on it." You see, just drop what I'm doing in Connecticut. Just come to Brooklyn and bring me a salted bagel. So I said, "Okay, he's my." I think I'm going into the tunnel. I think I'm going into the tunnel.
yeah,
I
you
will
froze up
connect.
for a second.
I will connect back with you guys as I'm walking to church.
Okay.
All
No,
right,
be safe, brother.
all right, ciao, Bella.
Ciao, Bella. So you guys were all in the service, and I gotta say, for one thing, that I've always really kind of been jealous, to be honest with you, that guys who have served, no matter what branch of the military you've served in, you can meet people all over the country, and once you find out you're in the service together, you have something in common, and you kind of have a bond. You know,
A very
I'm
unique
not.
bond.
What's that?
I said it is a very unique bond. All three of us were in different branches of the service too. So
It definitely teaches you how to network very quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, years ago, I was at the Tropicana in Vegas with some friends, and we were all we were all doing edibles, honestly. And we were like at we had rented a cabana for the afternoon, and there were these guys that were on leave. It was they were still fighting in Iraq, and they were on leave, and they were 2 weeks, and they were supposed to go back. And we were high as a kite, and they hopped in the water. My buddy who had been in the Marines was like, "Come on, let's go talk to these guys." And I said, "Okay." So we hop in the pool, and then he talks to them. He's like, "Oh, where are you guys stationed at? What are you doing?" Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, "Yeah, I was at blah, blah, blah." And they're like, "Oh, cool." And then he gets up and leaves. And then they're like, "So were you in the service too?" And I'm like, "No, but I've lived in war-torn areas."
I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express. Yeah, no
Exactly.
shit.
Holiday Inn Express. Yeah. But I mean, I'm not good at talking sports either. So like if I'm at a party and I don't know anybody, you know, the one thing guys can talk about is like, "Did you see the game last night?" or whatever. And
Right.
I'll be like, "Yeah, you know, not,
Sports ball. Yeah.
yeah,
Since I quit gambling on it, I just kind of given up sports, you know?
yeah. I should follow it a little bit just so that, you know, because I often find myself in with strangers, and I'm like, you know, and they'll say, "Oh, did you see the Dodgers?" And everybody loves the Dodgers in LA, you know.
Right.
And I'll be like, "Oh yeah, that was crazy."
Yeah. So they don't completely yank your man card, man. You got to keep up on some of this stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, since I was partly raised in Europe, I know soccer more, and that's not really a big man card here in the States, you know. So yeah,
I don't know, unless if you're talking with some Mexican guys, they're all into the football.
that's true. That's
Yeah,
true.
my neighborhood, they tell you different because, you know, they fire off fireworks every time it makes a goal. Goal!
So what,
Warzone.
Mike,
Sorry.
you were a Marine, and Tommy, what were you, Army?
I was in the Army. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I have a cousin that was in the Army, and he taught at West Point for a while. He's out in Austin now, but he was teaching for a long time, and he was in Iraq. Yeah, he probably doesn't want me to get into it because he actually was in an article in a German magazine that kind of blew up. So, you know, we'll let you say that.
Interesting thing about me and Tommy is we both have also lived in the Middle East, not just, serving there for, the military stuff. We both lived there and got to experience the culture there.
Oh,
Nice.
for sure.
Where in the Middle East?
Oh, I lived in Riyadh as a kid from the time I was like 12 to 14. And in fact, it was a trip. And, you know, on a compound, there's a lot of civilians, and it was kind of worked for the Corps of Engineers type thing. and a lot of contractors and stuff there, and met a whole bunch of. I'm friends with a lot of folks still on Facebook from that time. It's another shared experience, of living in Riyadh and having that, going to an international school and stuff. Man, it was a trip. It was a beautiful time. It was a wonderful time, actually.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I went to an international school in Spain, and so we had people from all over. My best friend was from Iran. It was right after the revolution and stuff. But yeah, and then when we came back here, my best friend was his family was from Jordan. So when I finally went to Israel at 18, I already knew basic stuff like marhaba, kif halek, stuff like that, which only serves if you're in the Arab villages, but it saved me because like on Saturdays, everything's shut down in Jerusalem. So you go to the Arab villages, but like my girlfriend would insist on walking with me. I'm like, I don't know if this is a good idea. And kids would come up on bikes and be like, Dini boss, give me a kiss. And so then I would tell her switch places with me, and then I'd say barra, menace, ya maniac. And then they'd be like, minuente, where are you from? And I'd just lie and be like, El Ordon, Jordan. And then they would take off, like I look like I'm from Jordan, but either way.
The only thing I remember in Arabic are slurs, something that would piss them off really fast. I'm not gonna say
the important stuff. You got to know the important stuff.
Yeah, everybody knows kus ammak, and my buddy used to have a bunch of them, like nik hejar, nik bahar, nik abuk, which is like fuck your mother, fuck your father.
Yeah, I know those in Spanish as well. I'm an international player.
Yeah, get your ass kicked in multiple languages.
Yeah, in multi.
Yeah, I used to hang with a lot of guys from Pakistan and India too, because they were all pool sharks. And back in the day, if you can believe it, I had a pompadour, and I wore a leather jacket, and they liked the way I looked with a cigarette in my hand, taking a shot at pool. But I'm terrible at pool, but they would set up all the shots. So we would go play, and they would just rack them up, and win lots of money. But so they would call me and be like, Bosrike, which is like asshole in Urdu. And I'd be like, Madar Chot, which is like motherfucker. But yeah, it was like a weird scene, me and a bunch of Indians and Pakistanis wandering the pool halls.
Yeah, that was the wild thing about the international schools, and having just friends from different cultures, and it was wonderful. It was a completely different time than now. And how many languages do you speak, Joe?
I speak English and Spanish fluently. I can fake Italian and French, and I'm okay with Hebrew, even though I've lost a lot of it.
Right.
My mistake is always I'll start speaking Hebrew to someone, and then they start going like, blah, 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 and I'm like, oh shit, I fucked up. But Spanish, no problem. It's my basically since I was born there, it was the first language I heard other than English.
Right.
Yeah, but not Mexican Spanish, but Spanish from Spain.
Right.
So it's a little different.
Your podcast progressed because you guys used to do it all in Spanish. Thank you for having us gringos on, by the way. This is something different.
Yeah. Well, I used to always get offended by my Mexican friends when they would call me gringo, because I'd be like, hey, man, I don't call myself that. And they're like, well, but, that's what you are. I'm like, well, you guys rarely use it as a term of affection. It's usually, effing gringo, gringo de mierda. Or you never say like my darling gringo, or, my beloved gringo.
Did they call you pocho like they do my in-laws and my wife here?
No, well, pocho is often what they call like guys that are Hispanic but don't speak Spanish and aren't in touch with the culture. So I used to call guys pochos, because it literally means like a rotten nut, so it's brown on the outside, but it's rotten on the inside. Almost like, like the Indians call the guys that are not into the culture apples, because they're red on the outside, but white on the inside. Or the Mexicans will often call them coconuts, too. Same deal.
I'm learning right now. I'm just learning.
Or the black guys will call them Oreos, because it's like, yeah, white on the inside, I guess I'm like, what am I, because I'm white on the outside, but,
One thing that was really difficult in the military was, we get used to calling everyone by their last names. Yeah. And when I was a very, very junior enlisted Marine, I had a friend who his last name was Wigger. and that would be awkward sometimes.
I had a student that in my class at Cal Poly Pomona whose name was Hung Lo.
Nice.
The teacher would always look and just be like, Mr. Lowe, Mr. You know, it was like. So I just had a friend whose son went into the Air Force. Right now, I'm sure you guys know the economy is not looking great, and there aren't a lot of jobs out there. You guys have experience doing it. Would you recommend going into the military at this point after having been through it?
Oof. Mike, I'll let you handle that.
Yeah.
For young men, it depends on what they want to get out of it. Because you still can, as I tell people all the time, the military is managerial training. No matter where you start in the military, you will eventually get leadership training and have people underneath you. So it's good managerial training. And I've had people with daughters approach me. If I had a daughter, I would tell her, I would try to get her to avoid the military service, just because I don't know if you're aware of this. In the last 2 years, they've taken the sexual assault investigating away from commanding officers because they were just so bad at it. And
Right.
they say 1 in 5 women are sexually assaulted. It's higher in the military. It's a very machismo culture. And, if you're not careful, that will absolutely happen.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. It's getting bad. When I was in, it was the don't ask, don't tell period. And there was a kid that turns out he was gay in the mess hall, and they busted him down, and on his way out, they put him on additional work detail and shit. And I was in charge of him, and he told me some horror stories, of what they did to him in the barracks room because he was gay. I'm like, well, that sounds pretty gay what you guys are doing to this guy. It was horrible. It was heartbreaking, but there's very little you can do about it. I mean, it still bothers me. Yeah, it was a good time.
Well, it seems like, I mean, having been through, did you guys all see action as well?
Not really. I didn't.
In Afghanistan, I don't have a combat action ribbon, but I only did a couple convoys. I was, for the most part, a fobbit. My boss would not let me go outside the wire, but we did get rocket attacked several times, which is scary, but you learn to live with it. The scariest thing I had was we were rocket attacked while I was sitting on a plane on the tarmac at Bagram, and we had to grab all of our stuff and run to the not a fallout shelter, but to the bomb shelter. And you've got like all your stuff, and you gotta run as fast as you can. And that wasn't scary. That I could deal with. But then they gave the all clear, and they put us back on the bird. But now we're in the back of the rotation for taking off. So we probably sat on the tarmac, which is wide open, for 30 minutes, and it was like, come on, get this thing going. So that was a little bit scary.
Oh man, it looks like Larry's back. He just entered again.
I'm back.
Back in the New York groove. Hey,
We were just getting a little dark once the comedian left, but now we could probably use some chuckles again.
Now we got the dark comedian back. Let's get darker. Yo, what was y'all talking about?
I asked them if they saw any action. Did you see any action while you were in the military?
Goddamn right, Desert Storm, baby.
Yep.
Kuwait, nigga. Why I gotta be like this on the way to church? You know why? Because I'm Larry turned Lorenzo on the road to Damascus.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh man. So let me ask you something. Okay. Here's what got me. Why was there never no, de-escalation from the military back into civilian world? Because you don't just drop somebody. Okay, picture it like this. You go to the prom one night, you get some pussy. Next, you leave for the military. You go off to Desert Storm. You come back, they give you money for college, and like, okay, now go. What, nigga? There's some beats we need to. I don't know if we need to come down with acid or whatever. I just know we have to have more of a debriefing than just don't share this. You know, come on, stop
Just the civilian life is like insane.
You
And
mentioned
so
acid.
Yeah.
You know, people have talked about how microdosing actually helps with PTSD and with depression and stuff. Have y'all, you don't even have to answer this question, but have y'all delved into that at all?
I want to absolutely answer that question. I absolutely. What do you think got us through the pandemic?
Right.
If you don't think you needed acid through that lie.
Yeah. I occasionally
we was doing acid and watching Fantasia.
That's like a double acid trip right there, because Fantasia is already like crazy.
Yeah, the people who created Fantasia was on acid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and they were probably also in the CIA.
Exactly. So I'm like, how do you expect me to really connect with this movie if I don't do what they did?
Yeah. Well, you can connect to that a lot easier than Snow White lately, from what I heard. You know,
Snow White was my first movie I ever fucking saw, and I was like, this bitch, this is how life is gonna be. 12 other motherfuckers is gonna get after this one bitch who they put on the pedestal. I'm like, yo, you need to be out here working with us, Snow White.
you know, Rosebud Baker has a bit about that. She said, you know, Snow White, you know, she wakes up in a house with 7 dwarves, and that's when she's like, oh shit, I gotta stop drinking, man. I'm really going downhill.
That's hilarious. I gotta really stop drinking.
I've seen the new Snow White, but I did see a similar movie. It was called Itty Bitty Gangbang. And,
yeah. That's hilarious. Yo, see what the Lord has blessed us to come together today. Oh, look at this building. Can you see it?
Yeah.
You know,
lives there.
Every time I come to, even when I come to Manhattan, I've been working in New York for years and years and years. I'm a tourist every day. I'm always still a tourist. I love walking through this city, the energy. It's nothing like California, don't get me wrong, but it's just, it's something about walking in Manhattan sometimes, you know, and hearing "Go fuck yourself."
You can hear that in LA too. You go to downtown LA, you'll hear it.
Oh yeah, I still love doing touristy shit in LA and Hollywood too, man.
Like what?
You're playing.
Yo, I was in East LA, right? I was dating this chick out in East LA. I did not know how East LA it was. Oh my God. Every sign was in Spanish. Everything was in Spanish. I was like, oh shit. I'm in Mexico. East LA.
That's my barrio.
Oh my God, yeah. I believe you got chickens and roosters. You know, I'm surprised. I'm surprised you're not going out to pick some oranges. I see Tommy on the corner selling those fruit with the pico de gallo sauce.
Earlier we were talking chickens. When I went to see Tommy last time, right around the corner from where he lives, there's a place, a supermarket that sells live chickens.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. So are those? Do people take them home to raise them, or do people actually slaughter them too and just eat them once they get home?
Yes. Same thing with goats. Yes.
Yeah. Ooh, I love goat. I love goat, man. That's some good eats.
You talk about a farmer's market.
Cool thing about this neighborhood is that up the street here from us is where they stopped and beat the shit out of the Night Stalker, Richard Ramirez.
So, yeah. When the cops came, he was like, "Thank God you're here."
yeah. From a Satanist, he's like, "Thank God you got here." Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
You don't want to mess with gangbangs. He was trying to carjack somebody to get their car, and everybody's like, "Hey, fucker," you know, wrong neighborhood.
What was the story?
Yeah.
What was the story?
He was on the run, and he basically tried to jack a car from a lady, I think, and then everybody came out of their houses with pipes and shit and just, you know.
30, 40 people beat the brakes off of him, man. It was fantastic.
Okay, and what was his crime? What was his initial crime?
He was a serial killer. He would break into people's houses and murder them. He murdered a couple, and the couple, the husband's name was literally Peter Pan. He was an Asian guy, but he murdered them, and then he sat down and made himself a sandwich, and I think he put like pentagrams and shit. He was all into the devil.
The nice stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a far stretch. He was into the devil. You know, I kind of. Oh, you know what? Y'all ever been by St. Patrick's Day? I know y'all have. I'm just a tourist.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful.
Oh my God, that's so beautiful. And I'm near Radio City Music Hall. I always take this route coming because when my girl comes to town, she will come to church. We met at the gym I'm going to, so we'll hang out at the church. They go to the gym. She'll drive back to, we'll get dinner or whatever like that. But she'll drive back, and then I'll come back. And I was like, I just like touring New York on Sunday as opposed to the other days. Oh my God! Like, no, I don't want your earbuds or ear pads or whatever the fuck. No, get away from me. They sell everything. I'm like, sell some pussy. Sell some stuff we can use.
Yeah, exactly. A working economy.
How you doing this morning? Yeah. Oh my God. It's a blessing to be up and out. And like a lot of people, they say to me, you know, you're brave, you're courageous. See, I've been in a lot of shit before cancer. You know, I was shot twice. You know what I'm saying? So one time in the head and one time in the abdomen. So I'm still here. So the thing is why, just like with those journeys, I'm just gonna be happy through it, you know?
Yeah.
Absurd.
I was asking the other guys, what do you think? Do you think maybe your service had anything to do with you getting cancer?
Okay, well, the story we're going with my lawyers. Going on record with my lawyers because I worked in Hollywood for a long time. Then I came back just ironically at 9/11. You know, and I worked down in 9/11 area. What is it called? Alba Seafood is where I worked for, and we were down there on Waters and Bank Street. And when I tell you, they came up with this genius thing that said, "Hey, listen, if you have prostate cancer and you work in the area of 9/11, you know, contact us." And guess what I did? I contacted them. Because those two things aligned. I did work at night down there, and I do have prostate cancer. So let's roll the dice. And so we're waiting on I signed the paperwork for the settlement to come back. So when you see me ordering all the baby oil in the world, just know I got my settlement.
Oh shit! Free Diddy.
So until listen, mum's the word until you hear the baby oil is selling out. Oh man, it is such a blessing to laugh and have fun because laughter is I really feel heals me because when I used to do shows, right? Well, I still do shows. When I do shows, right? People said to me, "Yo, I haven't laughed in a long time. You know, I feel like that's healing me." Or whatever. I heard that so many times. When I was wherever I was performing, New York, California. And so I said, there's some healing in laughter. So when I was diagnosed, my boy Mark Theobald told me, he's a comedian, he said, listen to old comedy. Just listen to stand-up comedy. I started with my buddy Patrice, and I started with other people. And I just was just laughing and laughing the whole time. And Tommy will tell you, I'm laughing all the time. And so next thing you know, I just felt better. I just feel better when I laugh.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I mean, I got deep into comedy, and part of that was following Patrice. And yeah, all those guys. New York comics are different than LA comics because LA comics usually want to get a show, a TV show. So,
they get their tight 5 minutes, and they be like, "Okay, do you see where you can shape a show around this?"
Yeah, like, exactly.
How about if you shape an act around that?
Hey, Larry. Hey, can I ask you a question about Patrice?
Yeah.
How'd he survive? Do you think he'd be persona non grata now, kind of like Anthony?
Everybody always says, "What do you think Patrice would be like now?" You're talking about now, right?
Yeah.
But everybody always says that. Let me tell you what Patrice would be. Patrice would be Patrice that y'all knew, because you got to remember the shit that Patrice went through before he passed. It was like we went through a lot of stuff in this country, and Patrice knew how to say things in the zeitgeist of time. A lot of times people think it would be Patrice, grandfather Patrice. You know, people like talk about their grandfathers like, oh, like he's from another era. I believe the Patrice that I know, that's my friend, he would be like me. Like, I still think the same shit, but I have to figure out how to say it. You know, you think I like the Jews? No, I'm fucking with y'all. That is just a joke. That is just it was in the moment. I swear to God, it was in the moment.
No, he transcends time. I'll still watch Patrice's bits even today, and they're still just as funny.
Yeah. When he talked about he said, ladies, you know, maybe we should get one day or something like that, or whatever the fuck he was talking about. He's talking about sniffing a chair or something. I was like, that's Patrice.
Sexual harassment day. Yeah.
Yes, that's Patrice. See, because, okay. If you want to talk about how Patrice would have transcended, okay. So remember at that time, sexual harassment was a big thing or something like that. Believe her. Because we didn't just start that shit during the pandemic. It's been going. So the thing is, but you see how Patrice dealt with it. Come on, ladies. And see, Patrice was able to talk to, he wasn't talking to administration. He was talking to the people who have to follow administration. So when it's different if I'm talking to the boss, or if I'm talking to the people who have to deal with the boss. I talk different. I'm like, come on, people, y'all know this is bullshit. Well, okay. How about, we do this? How about I propose that we do this? Like when Patrice used to talk about police brutality, he said, I keep a receipt everywhere I go. You know what I'm saying? So Patrice knew how to, and so that's why people always say, well, I wonder how Patrice would be. He would be the same damn Patrice y'all know. It's like I'm the same person. Yeah. It's like I never knew how I would be if my parents passed away. And when my dad passed, it hurt me like I don't know what. And it was the hardest year, 2 years, whatever. But I still was me. I still was like, when I had to tell jokes about my dad, or I did his eulogy at his funeral. I turned it into an hour stand-up. How would I be? I did. Awesome. Because that's what he would have wanted, because he's the one that told me to do stand-up comedy. So I said I was going to go to the NBA. He laughed. He said, no, do stand-up comedy, nigga. That's funny. He said, you at 5'7", going to go to the NBA. Okay.
You're not much taller than me, bro.
I was like, but I just knew I was going. There was nothing that nobody was going to tell me differently, because I saw Spud Webb. I said, no, it's one of us. It's one of us. See, one of us don't mean color to me no more. It means height. It's one of us.
It's like Curly from the Harlem Globetrotters. Yeah. He wasn't too tall, was he?
I don't know. I just know the NBA seems like the Harlem Globetrotters. Do they play defense? I'm sorry. I'm like, yo, what are we watching? We're just watching people just pass the ball to each other and shoot threes from half court. And you expect us to care?
We do.
Yeah, I'm like, you expect us to care? Okay, this is Times Square. Look, check it out.
Oh, damn.
I'm going to do what they did in Coming to America. Halt! Okay, it don't work in New York. What else? Jamaican dude looked at me like, nigga, I kill you. And look, all while I'm walking into church, because I'm almost here. Look. Hold on. I got to show you my church. Hey, show you my church. Hold on. Oh, you see it?
Say something, because the camera goes on you when you talk.
Can you see it? All right, look. This is my church right here.
Oh, great.
It's called Times
Nice.
Square Church. So if I'm not out of here in an hour and a half, send in the troops. These niggas been to dunk you in a pool saying, okay, we was baptized. You know you was drowning me. All right, I'll talk to y'all later.
All right,
All right.
thank you, Larry.
It's good talking to you. Good
All right,
seeing
I
you.
love y'all. I
I
love
love
y'all.
Damn. See, that's what I like. I mean, y'all have been through some shit. I've been through some stuff, but I love to laugh, and and that's what I really when Tommy talked to me about this, I was like, he was like, yeah, we'll have some laughs and chuckles. I'm like, we're talking about to a bunch of veterans, what kind of jokes we gonna be talking about?
Well, we
I have to say,
definitely like
you
the
did
dark
pretty
humor.
well.
Yeah, it's great, man. It's that camaraderie too, and it's the fact that you have to laugh no matter what you've been through. You have to laugh eventually at shit, because otherwise you're just gonna go nuts.
That's it. That's it. You know.
Yeah, we can laugh at stuff that other people are like, they'll look at us like, oh my God. It's like, yeah, we'll just laugh about it.
Yeah. I've been lucky because I have the kind of personality that people don't take it personally or assume stuff about me, even though, I mean, to look at me, I'm clearly an Irish guy. I can make jokes about race or about whatever, and people generally, if they know me, they know there's no malice in my heart, and that I'm not like an evil person or whatever. But then I'll see other friends of mine try to make the same joke, and it just bombs, because they're just it's like, wrong place, white man.
Yeah, I've got a couple of passes. I had my hood pass at one point. Now I got my barrio pass, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm like Jim Carrey in Dumb and Dumber when he walks out of the 7-Eleven. Hey guys, big gulps, huh? Well, see you later. I'm just like, hola, niños.
Shit.
Yeah. I'm lucky like that, because also I'll see some Mexican guys talking, and they'll be like, oh fuck, who's this bald guy walking up on me? And then I'll say something back to them in Spanish, and they're like, oh, and I'll be like, you never know who you're talking to, brother.
Especially in California, so many people speak Spanish out here.
Yeah. It's a trip. It wasn't always that way. Like in the 80s, my brother and I, it was like, if it was all white people around, that was our secret language, and we would talk back and forth in Spanish, knowing that the people around us wouldn't understand it. But then a lot of people just assume you're talking shit if you're speaking in another language anyway.
Come on, 9 times out of 10 is true.
Yeah, they'd be like,
I don't
hey.
speak Spanish fluently, but after living here almost 10 years, I know when people are talking shit about me.
Yeah. When they start saying pinche this and pinche that.
Yeah, no pinche me. Yeah. Puto.
Yeah, exactly. So, are you you were saying the VA, well, it sucks, pretty much. I visited my mom yesterday. She's in a retirement home, and there's a gentleman who fought in Korea, and his everything for him staying there is paid for by the Army, I believe, because he had a Purple Heart and all that stuff, But
Right.
they even send a doctor in, because otherwise, and we're out on the east side. Well, I'm further east than you, Tommy. I'm out in Montclair and Claremont area. So driving into West LA to go to the VA would be a bitch and a half,
I go to Long Beach
Yeah.
because I just can't deal with the parking. I go to Long Beach.
Yeah.
I mean, getting community care is one of the best things that the VA actually has to offer. I just went through about 10 months of psychotherapy through community care, and actually love my therapist, because there was a 10-month wait to see a therapist at the VA. And I'll give you the God's honest truth. I don't want the VA in charge of my mental health. Primary reason why I got to where I got to. So I mean, but after 10 months, they cut off the payments to them. And evidently I'm healed. I don't know.
Cured.
But I'm in a lot better shape than I was, let's say, 10, 11 months ago, for sure.
So up where you're moving, is there access to it up there? I mean, is there a VA
sure.
close?
Oh yeah, there's a outpatient clinic in Chico, and I think for the major hospital, the closest one is Mather. That's my old stomping grounds in Rancho Cordova. So yeah, I'll be good. That's about 90 miles away, so I'll get paid for gas. Yeah, which is not bad.
And they covered. I remember you had some basal cell carcinoma, which I've had too. As fair
5
skinned
surgeries.
guys get that. Yeah. Every so often, us fair skinned guys in California have to get something cut off. It's part of living under the sun.
As wow, literally under the sun and whatever they're spraying on us. But where's my tinfoil hat? But yeah, I mean, I had five surgeries for skin cancer, man. So, which is odd. I mean, there you go. Excellent. You're a good man.
Cat's tinfoil hat.
It's either what they're spraying on us or the VA's practicing on me. Either way, but I have a clean bill of health now, so I'm good to go.
Did they do everything that any other hospital would do though, like the Mohs technique and everything?
I don't know what that is.
Well, that's the Mohs technique is where they just cut a tiny sliver of it and then they check it under a microscope until they get out.
And then
it used to be they would just cut a chunk out of your face. You know, back in the day.
Sure. Yeah, I have one. I have a scar running from right under my eye down my lap line. So I mean, it did a wonderful job. There's a plastic surgeon stitched me up. So it's pretty good. Got this good one over here. But yeah, they did a really good job. They made sure
the VA covered everything. It was nothing out of pocket, or
no, nothing out of pocket. It was all covered.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Which is, I'm grateful for that. It's just the quality of care sometimes. It's and having to battle the VA for things it's horrible. Like I said, off camera, man, my dad died at 49 from colon cancer, which was probably in effect to his direct exposure to Agent Orange in Vietnam. He was toting 5-gallon buckets of the stuff on the airfield in Da Nang, and then they fought him the whole time, up until his death. I mean, they could only wrench on him so much. They cut into him and went, well, you have about 6 months to a year to live, so get your shit in order. Yeah, it was horrible. So colon cancers, guys, get your colon screenings, get those done. It's not that difficult. Get that done. That's one piece of advice I can say, because I'm high risk. So I have that done periodically. I think I'm good until I'm 60 now, so I got another 5 years.
But you can't beat the propofol too. I mean, when I had it, it's the same stuff that got Michael Jackson, but that stuff will put you in some sweet dreams for a little while.
Yeah, you don't even know what's going on. They could have done anything to me. They got what my doctor called
a camera up your ass. How much worse can it be?
So you got to go in and get double donged, one down my throat and then one up the other end.
What do they call that in the porn industry? It's skewers. When it's like from both sides. I can't remember.
Spit roasting.
I'm like a pig on a spit.
Spit roasting, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Nice
it's
being
crazy.
kissed me afterwards, so I was cool with that, though.
Did you say, hey, you didn't even take me out to dinner first?
It was all pump and grind.
All they're giving you is gas money. That's about it.
Yeah,
that's it. Get out. You're awake now. Get the hell out.
Yeah.
Because they had it stacked after nobody was seen for 2 years at my VA. Because they shut everything down for COVID. So I got to sit at home for 2 years with the skin cancer in my cheek. So it spread so much. They had to cut out about a quarter size of my cheek, but they did a really good job of putting me back together. So I'm grateful for that. The only thing, my only qualm with that would be, 5 different doctors. The VA is a training facility, so before they graduate, they all come through and practice on us. So I mean, it's just the way it is.
Yeah. So do you think Doge is going to cut a lot in the VA? That's the fear they're saying, but I don't even know. I mean, I know they're cutting a lot of fraud in other places, but it seems like they really, things like the VA, they need to staff up rather than cut. I don't know.
They need to streamline it for sure.
The
They went through and got rid of a bunch of DEI hires, and then there's a lot of hurt feelings from that. But that's all I've heard so far, and that's just from employees at the VA hospital.
Yeah,
So,
they got rid of the DEI programs, and they also got rid of a lot of the probationary employees. But the probationary employees, they announced they would be hired back. They were just going to reevaluate everything. And Secretary Collins, who's now the VA secretary, he's been giving a lot of interviews. All the DEI and gender reassignment money is now going towards amputees. So they just reappropriated it right there. So there hasn't been any cuts in anyone's care, and they don't intend to cut anybody's care.
That's good. I mean, this whole thing with the trans, it's like there's such a small portion of our society, but if you're putting off some treatment of an amputee or something like that because a guy wants to get reassignment surgery, I think that's a mismatched priorities. I mean, maybe mental health is probably more in line with the trans person, but that's just my own personal thought. I mean,
yeah, they're in bad shape. From personal experience, they're in bad shape as far as when it comes to mental health. Because if I have to go out into the community to get help, they don't nearly have enough actual therapists. They have no problem prescribing the head meds, but I think it works better in conjunction with the actual therapy. It's like, well, why the hell am I taking these medications if I'm not, trying to find out why I'm feeling how I feel? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it seems like the meds are mostly, the purpose of them is to keep you numb so you don't have to deal with those feelings. You just ignore them because you're just kind of a zombie or whatever,
Right.
But like, you can't run away from your problems. A lot of people move out to California from the East Coast and think that everything's going to be great, but their problems follow them eventually.
That's right. No matter where you go, there you are, Yeah. I used to do that all the time. I'd move to the East Coast, move down south, and by God, I kept following me. It was fucking weird.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna post this shortly, and I want to thank you guys. Where can everybody find you on the internet and elsewhere, I guess, as well? What are your addresses and your social security numbers?
Well, you can find me on X at Tommy Karate 70. I'm on there talking shit. I'll be starting a podcast soon, so stay tuned for that. I'll be plugging it everywhere. So.
Yeah, and for me, I'm on X as well, veteran_nation. And then I also have my YouTube, which is just Veteran Nation. So if you search on there, I'll come right up. I also have Instagram, Rumble, and True Social that I'm on as well.
Excellent.
Awesome. And I know Larry
for years now.
has a GoFundMe. I'm gonna post that below as well. And
excellent.
Everyone, please go give a couple dollars to Larry if you can.
Yeah, please.
For sure. Well, thank you guys so much. I definitely want to do this again sometime because I had a panel on not long ago of some commentators of international politics in terms of like the conflicts in other countries, and I'd love to get your thoughts about that, about what's going on in Ukraine and Gaza and the Red Sea and also I mean, it seems like the conflict or what was mounting up to be a conflict in Taiwan has kind of died down. We don't really seem to be having to worry about that anymore, but there are other things going on. It seems like, I thought that the wars were going to kind of end with Trump, but it seems like they're just shifting. They're going, we're having wars other places, and
Right.
things are kind of ramping up with Iran, but hopefully, but I'm assuming, I mean, most veterans I've met are anti-war, because you've seen firsthand what it does,
Sure.
So, well, thanks so much. And I hope to have you guys on again and have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. And thanks to all our listeners.
This has been a blast. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having us. It's been great.
Thank you. And to all that are listening, until next time.